Good day, everyone. Today we're going to discuss the ethical behavior. Now, we are going to begin with a core question. In a world driven by profits, why must we prioritize ethics? The text states clearly that prioritizing ethics isn't just moral. It is a foundation for business success. Paying attention to ethics makes good business sense. It builds goodwill, enhances success, and ensures we uphold our obligations to all stakeholders, to our customers, colleagues, and society at large. Every organization, from the boardroom to the factory floor, it always conducts behavior. And where behavior exists, ethics matter. Now, the term ethics often carries baggage, but we need a working definition. It says here that ethical behavior is based on religion or ideas shared by the secular world. But then let's look at some definitions from various sources and then go from there. The dictionary defines ethics as a system of moral principles or the rules of conduct recognized by a group, profession, or culture. This establishes that ethics isn't exclusively religious. It can be culturally, professionally, or secularly based. Now let us proceed to the Black's dictionary definition. The Black's Law Dictionary adds a layer, viewing ethics as a system of moral principles, sometimes to the exclusion of professional standards. In practice, for business, it is a moral code that defines what is right and wrong for an individual, business, or industry. It provides a standard for behavior. So, yun yung definition ng ethical behavior ni Black's Dictionary. So, an organizational's ethical role involves clarifying expectations, enforcing rules, respecting diverse views, and fostering an environment free from harassment. Ultimately, a code of ethics is a promise to act in a manner that protects the public's well-being. A well-defined code of ethics is the organization's most important tool. It is what prevents employees from claiming ignorance as defense for misconduct. If you cannot find an adequate industry code, then you must create one. This is more than just a document. It is about creating a positive company culture. Now, here are some of the guides to create your code of ethics. Number 1, key components must address. May it be conflicts of interest, harassment, data security, and social media privacy. Then, the code must also specify the protocol for when things go wrong, detailing who to report to and how the reports will be processed, ensuring employees will feel safe to speak up. Now, let us proceed to the in teaching employees ethical behavior. The crucial statistic says that 90% of unethical conduct in the workplace is caused by a poor ethical climate and not a lack of moral character. This puts the burden on leadership to teach and reinforce. There are 5 core strategies for teaching, which are: discuss ethical behavior with the staff. So always communicate with your staff and most especially use every opportunity to talk about ethics and its seriousness. Second, address unethical behavior of all employees. Consistency is the key. Unethical conduct by anyone must be addressed to show standards apply universally. Like if someone did something wrong, like if it is not ethically right, then show them that what the consequences is so that others will learn and hindi siya tutularan ng iba. Define, outline, and ethical expectations. Ensure that the company's ethical standards are reinforced by all employees through clear processes for handling both internal and customer-related violations. Recognize ethically risky areas you see. Sometimes it can be difficult to make an ethical decision or even know what the ethical decision is. When you see an employee choose the ethical decision over the easy one, be sure to praise them even if it is small or private situation. Give employees opportunities to talk. It is essential to create an ethical climate. You must make it safe to talk about ethical expectations without fear of retribution. Employees may need to talk to subordinates about ethics. Employees should be aware of the importance of ethical standards that need to be followed. It is essential to ensure that employees talk about all of the uncomfortable reporting on ethical behavior without fear. Since employees feel comfortable, reporting on ethical behavior will increase. Encourage employees to talk about ethical problems. Let us proceed in how to hire ethical people. Perhaps the best way to ensure that your organization keeps high standard is to look for ethical employees in the first place. So the proactive solution to ethical integrity begins at the door. We must look for people who demonstrate an ethical mindset. So first, look for the people who want to talk about how to deal with ethical problems. In the interview, ask candidates about their previous experience, their dilemmas, and the decisions they made. You may also want to use assertive and helpful ethical company culture. Look for individuals who are assertive and helpful in navigating specific and ethical questions. So conversely, we must identify and address common lapses. So examples of unethical behavior include seemingly minor acts like excessive use of work computers for personal email or social media, alongside more serious issues like workplace harassment or high employee turnover caused by unfair treatment. Journalistic warnings confirm that this behavior directly results in a decline in moral and trust, leading to legal and financial peril. Now let us proceed to obstacles to ethical behavior. Every organization strives to have employees understand that good ethical practices are actually good business practices, where people and organizations are studying how ethical lapses can occur in an ethical atmosphere. So, ethical lapses have been identified or defined as ethical breakdown. Ito yung obstacles to ethical behavior are also called ethical breakdowns. These are the structural, psychological, and organizational factors that facilitate unethical behavior. The leadership's role in addressing this is paramount. So here are the barriers to ethical behavior according to Fox 2011. There are 5 barriers to conduct businesses in an ethical manner. Each barrier is enabled by corresponding suggestions on possible remedies. It is important to implement and use ethical behavior that is both ethical and important to the business. So number 1, we have ill-conceived goals. It is a goal or incentive that promotes a desired outcome but encourages a negative or unethical behavior. For example, the infamous Ford Pinto case, where a cost-benefit analysis determined that it was cheaper to pay off wrongful death lawsuits than to fix a dangerous fuel tank issue. The goal of saving money corrupted the means of product safety. Second is the motivated blindness. It is the tendency to overlook unethical behavior when it is one's own interest to remain ignorant. People see what they want to see. For example, a credit rating agency paid by the client it is rating may be motivated to overlook financial irregularities to maintain the business relationship. Number three, indirect harm. It is avoiding direct responsibility for misconduct by delegating the unethical action to a third party, an affiliate, a subsidiary, or a supplier. For example, a corporation that uses an offshore subsidiary to engage in practices that violate domestic ethical or environmental standards, thereby inflicting harm indirectly. Number four, the slippery slope. It is the idea that once a person begins to compromise ethical principles with smaller infractions, they are more likely to slide into larger, more serious violations over time. It's a gradual erosion of ethical standards, often starting with minor, tolerable acts that pave the way for major corruption. It's the small compromises that leads to the bottom. And last but not the least, the overvaluing outcomes. Focusing solely on whether the result is positive while ignoring or justifying the questionable act or ethical decisions or processes used to achieve it. So managers should be judged on the ethicality of their decisions and the process used, not just the quality of the end result. If an outcome is great, unethical means are often excused, which encourages repetition. The remedies for these barriers all point to one thing: vigilance. Managers must constantly monitor the ethical climate, correct bad behavior immediately, and focus on ethicality. By understanding these five barriers, we realize that ethical failures are often predictable and structural, not just moral failings of individuals. Preventing breakdown requires a commitment to ethical standard that permeates every level and functions of the organization. In closing, the ethical imperative isn't just about avoiding penalties. It is about laying a strong moral foundation that secures long term trust, reputations, and success for the business. That is all. Thank you.